Welcome. My name is Amelia Adrian. I am a mindful movement teacher. I teach meditation and I teach yoga. And I'm also an aromatherapist working with essential oils and working with nature to help us all achieve, experience, live in a more harmonious way. So, today I want to talk about how we can encourage that flow of energy in our body, that more harmonious flow of energy in our body, and how we can do that using some breath work, using mindful movement, and also using essential oils. The lens that I'm going to largely look through today is through the meridian system, which are channels of energy that run through our body. This is a system that was developed, discovered by the ancients, by the Chinese, and it is said to be describing an activating flow of energy through invisible pathways that run throughout the whole body. Now, there are comparisons in other philosophical systems and other philosophical traditions. So, for example, in the Indian tradition, we hear them talk about nadis, and that can, in many ways, be likened to the meridian channels that I'm exploring and that I'm talking about here. This force that runs through the meridian channels is known as Qi, which I'm sure you know and have heard about. And Qi, this vital life force, this powerful sort of dynamic yet unseen force that gives us life, that enlivens our being, that is the foundation of all vitality, is actually quite hard to pin down. So some of the ways that I think it's helpful to look at it and helpful to understand it can be to think of it as this life force that allows our heart to beat, this life force that encourages the grass to grow. If we look at it on a galactic level, it's this life energetic force that allows the planets to move. It's said it can be neither created nor destroyed, and yet it is something that is constantly transforming itself and moving itself and appearing in different forms. And what we can do with mindful movement, with pranayama, with breath work, and with essential oils and other practices is that we can start to manipulate is kind of a strong word, but it's one I'll choose. We can manipulate this energy, we can direct, encourage the flow of this energy in a way that is helpful and enlivening to our own body, to our heart, to our mind, and equally to our spirit. So this term qi can also be found in other philosophical traditions. So we have the term qi, the Chinese term, which is qi. We also have the term qi, I think qi is how you would say it, the Japanese term. We have prana in Sanskrit, which is referred to very regularly in yogic philosophy. And we have lung in the Tibetan, Lung, lung in the Tibetan tradition, which is a system that I'm more familiar with also. So we're looking at this universal life force energy that is referenced in all of these major spiritual traditions, Eastern spiritual traditions. And when we're looking at this, we're looking at how we can open up the meridian channels, these rivers, if you like, of energy that run through the body, how we can open up these rivers of energy to allow the flow of energy, to allow the flow of qi, to amplify our own energy, and to even enhance our capacity to then absorb more qi. So these rivers of energy, these meridians, they are interconnected, they flow through the body, they run through the body, and said to interconnect and encapsulate both tissue and organs. So they are associated with major and minor organs, and we can use the opening of the meridians to support the functioning of our organs on a very physical level. The meridians flow through all of the tissues, through the bones, they moisten the joints, and they connect the interior of our body to the exterior of our body. Now, 5 traditional ways that we can assist, or 5 ways, I should say, that we can assist this flow of qi are, firstly, through acupuncture. So many of you know this form where you would apply a needle to a particular acupoint that would run along the meridian. And then we're looking here at these aroma points as locations, as points to really focus our attention to allow the flow of qi to move through. Also, shiatsu practitioners are working with these points on the body through the meridian system to allow the flow of energy to work well. Secondly, we can place our body in various forms and shapes to bring pressure to the tissues, to pull the tissues in an encouraging and in a helpful way, thereby awakening or eliciting the body's natural repair response, coaxing qi to these sites. And of course, many forms of exercise do this, especially when accompanied with appropriate rest. We can think about yoga, we can think about qigong, we can think about tai chi, all of these different forms of exercise that are encouraging the flow of energy along the meridian channels. Interestingly, when this is accompanied with a form of directing the mind, it amplifies the overall sense of well-being. So when the movement has a mindful quality to it, it can amplify the overall sense of well-being. Thirdly, we can work with qi, we can enhance qi through pranayama or through breath work. We can lengthen the breath, we can deepen the breath, we can time the breath to have a particular length on the inhale and a particular length on the exhale. And what the studies show that this is doing is it's oxygenating the blood, increasing the flow of qi or prana, if you like, in a more harmonious way, distributing this energy in a more harmonious pattern simply through focused and attentive breath work. Fourthly, which I was touching on a moment ago, we can redirect our mind. We know what it's like when we focus on something and it's just doing a worry loop, or we're anxious about something and we just keep on turning it over and over and over in our mind, and it never makes the problem go away. It never actually solves the problem. It simply almost even reconnects us into that problem even further. Now, we know what it is to feel that. All of us, I think, can understand and know what that is. And can we also know what it is to turn our attention somewhere else, to direct our mind to something more helpful? We all know that the mind influences the body. We know that the mind influences the energetic system. We know that a distracted mind, for example, brings scatteredness to our being, to our energy, and a focused mind brings a more smooth flow to our being. We know that our energy goes where our attention is. So a focused mind will draw energy into our center, into our being, and we become more magnetic in that way because we're simply a focused point of energy that sort of draws things into us. So rather than wasting our energy, we're much more focused and vibrant, actually. And then finally, I want to talk about essential oils as ways to amplify and explore and open the energy channels, the meridians, and to help a more harmonious flow. Now, each essential oil has its own unique coding, its own unique chemistry, and its own unique energetic pattern. And with that in mind, we can then use an essential oil, we can partner it, if you like, to create a particular outcome in our body, knowing and understanding that we have an essential oil that has a frequency, we're desiring a different frequency, and we can then select the essential oil to direct our energy elsewhere. So let's drill down a little bit more into that, into how essential oils specifically support the flow of energy. So essential oils are limbic activators. So they stimulate the limbic system when we breathe them in aromatically. And the limbic system, as we know, directly linked to our emotions and to our memories. And so this stimulation can then help to release blocked emotions. It can help direct our attention or our mind pattern to something more helpful. And in this release and in this redirection, we can either open up some stagnated qi, we can give it a different avenue to walk through. So inhaling things like lavender or frankincense, many other essential oils, but these are two very well-known essential oils that can help to open an emotional release and redirect and facilitate qi flow elsewhere in a more helpful, harmonious pattern. Secondly, essential oils can pass through the blood-brain barrier. So high-grade essential oils can penetrate the blood-brain barrier, and in this way they affect the nervous system and the emotional centers of our being. So especially sesquiterpenes, things like frankincense, things like myrrh, things like sandalwood, these are specifically noted for their ability to cross the blood-brain barrier Monoterpenes, these are just categories of essential oils. These also have the power to travel through the blood-brain barrier. Things like peppermint, for example, pine oils, spruce oils. These have a makeup of even smaller molecules, which even further sort of facilitates the crossing of the blood-brain barrier, deepens the impact of the qi flow, calms the nervous system, and then reduces that sort of resistant buildup that might have been occurring in the meridians. Thirdly, maybe a more abstract but still a very powerful way that we can use essential oils is using the breath aligned with intention. So breathing in an essential oil, taking in that aroma. So therefore we're activating the limbic system while also affirming something helpful or positive in our being. So for example, breathing in an oil that is very centering or focusing, like rosemary, and affirming, I breathe in clarity. As you say it quietly to yourself, breathing the oil in and partnering the way of being that you're inviting in with the energetic frequency, the energetic signature of that essential oil. So when we exhale, we could also then invite or open a releasing statement. So it could be, I release grief, for example, from my lung channel. The lungs known to hold sadness and grief and store, sometimes blocked grief or sadness here. I release. So when working with, again, rosemary would be a beautiful oil, very good partner for the lungs. I release this blocked, stagnant grief from my being. So this is then aligning breath, aroma, and intention. And what we're doing is creating coherence. And coherence is everything. Coherence is your health. Coherence is your harmony. Coherence is your magnetism. Coherence is your ability to make clear decisions. Your coherence is your ability to remain focused and not be distracted by all of the different things that are happening around you that you don't want to be distracted by. Good. So then we can go a little bit deeper in this exploration, and we can think about how we use essential oils on specific acupoints along the meridians. So remember, I said one of the main ways that we can work with the flow of energy is through acupuncture or shiatsu practice. So this is when we're working either with a needle or with pressure on an acupoint. Now, for most of us, that means we have to go to an acupuncturist or we have to go to a shiatsu practitioner and we have to have a treatment, which is great. I do that all the time. I love those kinds of ways of working to move energy through. And I'm also really interested in self-sustaining practices that I can use to keep myself really vital, really happy, really fluid, everything working well. And aroma point therapy is something that I can do for myself. So this is offering direct meridian stimulation. The essential oil is applied to a specific acupoint along the meridian, and these points are like gateways where the qi can be accessed, it can be modulated, and it can be released and allowed to flow better. The oil is the frequency carrier, the energetic signature of the oil, enhancing the energetics of the resonance of the plant. We partner that with the point, and then we create an energetic flow. We can additionally integrate aroma point therapy with breath work, with affirmation, with intention, creating an even more powerful flow of movement of qi when this is done mindfully. So if you're newer here, I want to give a brief recap, and if you're not, great to just hear it again, of what is aroma point therapy. So this is a technique that was developed by Tiffany Carroll and Peter Holmes, and it is the application of properly diluted essential oils on points, body zones, on aroma points and body zones to create a therapeutic shift. And the shifts can be seen physically, the shifts can be seen emotionally, and many also may share spiritual shifts from this work. It's very much connecting us into nature, into the inner nature, the energetic signature of the essential oil. You can practice on yourself. It's a safe technique. You can practice on others. It's not acupuncture, so we don't need to overly obsess about the location of the point, remembering that a needle is very tiny and our finger, which is the method of application, is much bigger than a needle. So highly likely that we're going to find the location without the over sort of concern that we might miss the point, which is I know is one of the things that I was first worried about when I first learned this technique, 10 years ago now. The results of this are reflected in, for those who know how to measure these things, because it came out of an acupuncturist's clinical practice, if you like. For those that know how to measure these things, the results have been reflected over hundreds and hundreds of clients and in pulses, in the way that the tongue is shown to appear, which is one of the diagnostic tools that acupuncturists use, in the Shen, the quality of light, sometimes measured as the quality of light that is coming out of our eyes. So the practice itself, to remind you, it involves the placing of key properly diluted essential oils onto specific aroma points, onto chakras, energy centers, or even reflex zones on the body in order to activate energetic and physiological changes. So this is for everyone to access. It is not an exclusive training that requires years and years and years of training. You can use one oil on one point consistently over weeks to really facilitate or months even, or years even, to really facilitate significant change. So a movement teacher, this is going to be great for you. Acupuncturists, of course, another way for you to work. Body workers, energy workers, Reiki practitioners, nurses, physical therapists, talking therapists, occupational therapists, or if you are simply and powerfully the everyday healer in your own home, this is going to be great for you. So we are, first of all, looking at the chemistry and the energetics of the oil. The energetics of the oil partner with the energetics of the point, and we're using that oil to move energy through. So it's based on the fragrant energetic of that essential oil, activating the meridian flow of the energy. And I have seen this technique work on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students that I've taught this to. It's a very beautiful, powerful, simple way to work. We're using our finger as the method of application, or you could also use cotton bud, or a tiny little thread of cotton wool. There's no pressure needed. It's not needed. Pressure is not needed to activate the point. It's a light touch, and for the emotional benefits, the light touch really does work the best. So whenever you notice there's a pressing, just feel yourself pull back. And you hold on that point for anywhere between 1 to 3 minutes until you feel that the activation is complete. So again, the way that we can assess these changes are we can intuitively watch and observe. We may notice complexions becoming brighter or lighter, more vibrant or more natural. We may notice pulses evening out, if we know how to measure pulses, becoming more smooth. We may notice the voice becoming less tense, less high-pitched, or with any sort of groaning sound attached to it. We may notice that breathing happens more easily, more smoothly, and more naturally. We may notice that symptoms decrease or even completely go away. And it's really important that we work with very high quality essential oils when we do this, so that the results can be measurable. Many essential oils out there are not really doing what they claim. So always ensure that you're working with properly diluted essential oils and of very high quality. So when we add this aroma point technique, or even just the pure breathing in and the pranayama practice with essential oils, when we add that into a movement technique, like a balanced yoga practice, we can really, really help shift our energy in a powerful way. So a balanced movement practice would place the body in specific shapes to bring about natural repair responses, coaxing the chi along the meridians. Secondly, the pranayama oxygenates and increases the flow of blood. Thirdly, we can redirect our mind. And then fourthly, if we add in the aroma point technique, we are activating the acupoints. And so we can safely incorporate these four main ways of supporting good energetic flow in our body. The movement stimulates the blood, the muscles, and the meridians housed in the connective tissue. The breath, when slow and conscious, regulates the nervous system and amplifies the quality of energy, the quality of qi. A focused mind disentangles us from distraction, and then the aroma point therapy harmonizes the flow of energy throughout the meridians. I hope this has been helpful for you as an overview of how we can use essential oils and mindful movement and breath work to create a more harmonious flow of energy in our being. If you would like to learn more, just keep going with me. I'll put all the links below for you to study further, and I'll see you soon. Much love.